For those that are just tuning in here, our workshop yesterday was all around the perfect online business. What does it take to create the foundation for the perfect online business? And everything we're teaching today is based off of the AI agency, using AI features within high level to create that business from home or business while traveling. Day two, could you unpack for us, Adam, what do we got ahead of us?
Yeah, you betcha. This might be our opportunity. Let me take a look. We'll start the slides and we'll dive right in if you're ready there, JB.
Let's rock and roll, man. Absolutely.
Right. Let's see. So, day two. Make sure our things all work. Do we have the full screen? You see it all?
Yep, full screen, full presenter mode.
Magic. Offers that sell themselves. So yeah, I mean, day two, what we're doing here, and this is a bit of, I guess, what we could call kind of like a damaging admission. So one of the things that I think really drew me to marketing in the early days, or one of the reasons that I got so hooked on it, was that I think like many people, I was scared of sales. I didn't like the idea of sales. I didn't like the idea of being pushy or having to convince people to do something that I wasn't sure about. I mean, I didn't really understand that we can actually sell without being salesy now. We have whole new things. But at the time I was like, man, how do I sell without selling? And it just kept coming back to marketing. So marketing is really selling to many people all at once. And then sales is like one-on-one when you sort of get them over the finish line. But I realized that I could have, and I believe it was Peter Drucker, I'm going to butcher the quote a bit, but it was like the goal of marketing is to make selling superfluous. So essentially it's like, we don't need to do any sales at all if our marketing is so good. So it's so irresistible. It's so desirable. It's this offer that we're putting in front of people literally sells itself, that my job is a glorified order taker. I just write down a credit card or push a button or do whatever. So to me, that is where some of this magic comes in, and this is what enables us to scale. So today, we're talking about how to create offers that sell themselves. We're going to go over something called an MVP, minimum viable product. We could call this a minimum viable agency, minimum viable marketing. One of the biggest mistakes that new, intermediate, maybe even advanced marketers make is confusing action with progress, is confusing all of the things that you think you need to succeed, and then getting caught in the weeds of like all of these micromanaging, completely irrelevant details. And none of that is going to make you money. So we're going to dispel that myth. We're going to get rid of it. I don't talk about it. We'll talk about it more, called RGAs versus NRGAs. Try to remind me, JV, but basically revenue generating activities is the thing that we're looking for. We're going to talk about packaging and pricing. How do you put these things together? And then also, how do you put these things together as a beginner? Because it can be pretty overwhelming and intimidating to think, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm brand new to this. And you're expecting me to just go out there to a business owner who may have been in business for 10, 20 years and tell them that I can help them? What if I can't help? What if I can't do this? So we're going to try to dispel all of that and make it really clear and obvious what those next steps are. And we're going to talk about putting together your irresistible offer. And again, much like yesterday, where my goal is to teach you to fish, but also to just give you the fish. So I'm going to give you irresistible offers to use. I'm going to say, just say this. Here's a really good template. All of these have been proven and profitable. These are ones that we still use every single day, and they're free for you to use as well. So feel free to just take them and run with them. But that is the focus for today. Also, there's that link again. I don't know if we still need it or if we can bring it up later, but for anyone that hasn't have it yet.
Yeah, I think the biggest part here, just to be aware for those that are brand new, is that when we bring on subject matter experts to our high level 3-day workshop stage, we ask them to put together 80% or more of the business that they're teaching in a easy way to install into the high level account. And that's what Adam has set up here, where once you sign up for your trial, you'll get a link tomorrow that you can install in your high level and get that with 80% of what you need for the buttons to be pushed and the output to happen. Adam, I think the biggest part here in this process is if you're giving us 80% or let's say 70% of the work, then what do I really need to do then?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So what you need to do is, and this is, it sounds so silly when you say it out loud, but But the reality is like, you just have to follow the steps. Like that is the work. The work is actually kind of just showing up and trusting the process a little bit and really doing your best to put any of those fears and doubts and insecurities just on the back burner for now. I mean, like, you can bring them up later. That's fine. But like, for now, try to put it aside and try to imagine what if, and like, what if it does work, and what if all this happens, and what if not just Adam but JB and the thousands and thousands of other people that are making this work successfully. Like, why not me? Why can't this work? So I mean, yeah, we're inside of that thing. It's closer to 80 or 90%. Like, it's got everything you need to do, but you do have to be the one to then take it and go take action with it. So it's like, we're going to deliver, I don't know, say you're starting to get into running. It's like, well, we're going to give you running shoes, the best laces. We've got the track pants, the water bottle, the hydration. We're going to show up at your door. We've got a coach. We've designed your training program. We're going to put your shoes on for you and tie them up. We're going to even push you out the door. But then it's up to you to take that step. So you've got to be the one to actually go and start putting in those miles. But again, like, we're there to coach you on the sideline. We're standing there. What is it again? Like 5 days a week now we have our coaching calls or whatever. So it's like, we're there cheering you along your training runs every step. So yeah, I think it really just comes down to action.
Yep. And to that point, running, as you think about running, you're like, oh man, I'm going to potentially get shin splints, or, I'm not really much of a runner. I feel like I'm going to look funny when I run. I don't know where to run. I don't want to trip and fall while I run. Like, you start to think of all these different excuses. Mm-hmm. If you're kind of like what I did initially, was, these what ifs, these potential roadblocks to over prepare for. But what if you're the type that you're a positive overthinking? So you got your Google Doc or your Microsoft Word doc, and you're like itemizing everything that needs to get done. You're going 3 or 4 layers into each bullet point, where you got like the sub bullet points.
Yeah.
Where is it where it's overdoing it? Like, where are you doing too much? If you could frame that, what is too much and what is enough, that would help us as we get into what you're going to start building out and giving us as a guide from scratch.
Right on. Yeah. So, I mean, what you just listed there, JB, of like writing out the bullet points, that's too much. So one of the biggest things that I see is people trying to solve problems that they haven't experienced yet. And that is probably the biggest roadblock. It's like, well, what do I do when I have 50 clients, and how am I going to manage that? I was like, whoa, let's get one first. Then we'll deal with that. And the reason is because, again, I think Patton is the original quote of, it's like, no plan survives first contact with the enemy. Tyson's quote is like, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. I just like to think that the reality is that as you go talk to people, things are going to change. You're going to start to discover things. So really, the way that I like to imagine it is like, if you're driving at night on a dark and winding road and you've got your headlights on your car on, right? All you need to do is see 50 to 100 feet in front of you. And then you travel that, and then you turn the corner and there's 50 to 100 feet, and there's 50 to 100 feet. And every time, all we're doing is taking step by step by step. We don't need to know everything, because we can't. It's an ongoing process. And really, oh man, we've just seen it so many times, so much so that I wish there was a more powerful way to explain it. But it's like, the secret is like to get in the car and to drive, to get put on the shoes and to take the step, because the next one then reveals itself. But it's only by taking action that you can actually see what's even going to happen. We can't sort of like get all stuck in the theories of this, because it really is just about action. And when we start doing that, I mean, everything kind of falls into place. Again, it's that interested versus committed thing again. Like, when we become committed, when we take the step, what is that like? When you first take the step, the path will reveal itself. I like the analogy of like jumping off a building and building a parachute on the way down. It's like, we're going to figure it out. And the reason that we're going to figure it out is because that's what we as humans do. We can get into the psychology later if we want, but like, we survive. We're a surviving species. This is the reason that we're still the dominant species on the planet. And we always get what we need to get. So if this becomes a must for you and you simply have to do it, yeah, you're going to do it. And really, I don't want to say it becomes easy, but it kind of does. I have this other theory of like 100% is easier than 99%. So it's like, let's say that I don't know, we'll use fitness and nutrition again. For me, the hardest nutrition plan or diet plan is one that gives me like a little bit of a cheat. So I can eat pretty strict, but then I'm allowed that cake or that thing or that candy, or I can have ice cream, because I'm just not very good at it. Like, it's hard to be like, wait, did I have that? Do I have to do this? What about this many? Just 100% is easier for me. It's just like, we're not doing this and we're not doing it for 30 days. And then there's no more thought. We just remove all of the obstacles for it. So with this, what I'd like to say is like, we just make that commitment of like, yeah, I'm doing it. I'm doing this as hard as I can for 90 days, 180 days, 12 months, whatever it is. And I'm not even going to consider a plan B. And it just makes it easier.
And I appreciate it. And I know we're about to kick off here the offers that sell themselves. For those of you that are that have your high level, that you're still very brand new, or you're still trying to figure this out, we got your back. Two areas I just want to point you to be aware of. Help.gohighlevel.com is the user manual for high level that actually you could read and see, right? And it gives you everything in detail, the screenshots, the what to do, how to do it. The second part is speakwith.us/success. That's our 24-hour support team that'll jump on a Zoom with you, which is included in what your subscription is. So those are two resources that are best to take advantage of right away if you run into a question or a hiccup. For this training here, we won't be able to help you with the support end of it. So please limit your questions around the content or around building your business from scratch or around selling or setting up your offer. That way we can make sure we get you that information directly. Adam, I got pretty much the fine print, the kind of go-to stuff out of the way.
Cool.
I got my pen, I got my paper. Let's get into student mode. I'm ready, man.
All right. So I got some interesting, relevant news to share based on this happened actually this morning. And I was like, man, what a perfect example to talk about this like interested versus committed thing. And literally, I'll show you this slide. So for a long time, we've had good success with YouTube. We've done it for, I don't know, I think we're on 8 years now. I don't want to say we've like cracked the code, but like we've got a pretty good handle on what works and what doesn't. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it. Short form content, personally, we've never been able to make work. Like TikTok, Instagram Reels, even YouTube Shorts to an extent. It's like we just could not crack this thing. And for a long time, I was telling my editors, we'll just take little snippets out of this, take that copy, take this copy. And you know what? I was interested. I was like, this is cool. Let's see if we can get some free traffic. And sure, everybody says that I need to be on all of these platforms. So I'm just going to I'm going to outsource it and delegate it and not take any responsibility. And I did this for years. And these are the average. We'd get 180 views. We put up stuff. It would take time, cost money. I put it up on the platforms and it would just fizzle around, just do nothing. A couple thousand subscribers, basically just sort of people that have come over from YouTube. And then finally, I sat down with the team about probably 2 weeks ago. So this is just to show you just how quickly things can change. So about 2 weeks ago, I sat down and I was like, guys, this is enough. We're going to figure this out. We got to crack this algorithm. We got to figure out what kind of content works. All hands on deck. I hired like 3 new editors. We've set up the whole team. I'm not saying you have to do this. I'm just showing this is the sort of the level of commitment that I want to see whatever you do. We started reverse engineering the top ones. We looked over all of our copywriting. We started thinking about thumbnails and hooks and titles. I wrote scripts, then I went through them again, then I rewrote them, and then I looked at every word and I analyzed it, then we edited it, and I was like, not good enough. We need this, we need this. We posted one 2 days ago, and it did 213,000 views. Out of nowhere, quote unquote, out of nowhere. And this is the difference between interested and committed. Interested Adam was like, let's make some stuff. I think we can do this. It's probably not that hard. I'll get some clips from this and this. Committed Adam was like, we are cracking this nut. I don't care if it kills us. We are going to figure this out because I am frustrated that it is not working. I'm tired of seeing all of these other people blow up on these platforms and say that it's easy. There's got to be something to it. And granted, I've got a bit of extra experience here, but it did not take long. Like a couple weeks, and we figured it out. Now, if you're starting a new channel, obviously this is a totally different thing. But the point is, when you flip that switch and you decide to move over to the other side, like that's where results happen. They do not happen on the interested side. You just end up creating exactly what I was doing for like 4 years. Generic, boring, random content, not really understanding it.
So just on this particular interested versus committed, and I go back to my example, because I know I can't be the only one that I overthink, whether it's a course, whether it's just content, I'm overthinking everything. Could you just kind of unpack a little bit or give us like a little bit of a behind the scenes of what the difference was, what you normally do, which is what you did differently in this part, Was there one or two things that you took out, or was there one or two things that you added?
Yes, it was both. It was we took things out and we added. I guess more so added. So what we did, actually, it's really quite simple. With the interested, we would just go through my old videos and we'd take out parts that we thought would be good. I think that's okay. I think that's good. That's probably good. And we knew enough because we'd had success with our clients' accounts. But we could never crack it for ourselves. And then finally, I started thinking, it was like, what are we doing with all our client accounts that are dominating? I was like, I know what we're doing. We're putting in effort. That's what we're doing. I was like, we're writing short, specific content. We're looking at the hooks. We're evaluating everything. We're treating each piece of content like basically what we did is we took the same strategy we're using with YouTube and we applied it to short form content, which just meant effort. That was it. We made this commitment of like, all right, we're going to do it. So instead of just figuring out what I was going to do and riffing it off the cuff, I wrote it out and then I reverse engineered it. And then I went through it line by line. And I probably spent not a ridiculous amount of time, but like 4-5 hours to try to like really perfect one of these things. And that's including the editing with the team. So for me, I wrote it probably for about an hour, went through it a bunch of times. Then I recorded it, which took 5 minutes because it's 1 minute of content. And then the team edited it for like a good couple hours and went back through it. But I was like, nothing that we did was magical. I'm filming in the exact same setting as you can see right now, the little YouTube plaque behind my head. I'm using just my, I can't remember if I used my phone for this one or if I used my camera because I was lazy and about cropping things. So it wasn't like, there was no fancy technology here. The thumbnails we discovered were just better if we uploaded them natively and put those in there. So these were all the little things that just happen when you're like, all right, I'm going to take this seriously. That's it. And then I'm going to look at like, what are the top people in the field doing? And then I'm just going to do that. Like if they're putting in 4 hours per thing, I'm going to put in 4 or 5 or 6. If they're doing this, I'm going to do this.
So what I'm taking in my student mode right now is you focused on the elements that were proven to be the most important, that made the most impact. So you perfected those areas. So it was maybe the hook, a little bit of how you position the story, and then your offer at the end or your call to action.
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong here or if I'm misunderstanding this, but I'm just, for someone new, they're listening to this and now they're about to make hours of content.
Yeah.
Adam, like they're going to make hours of content. Now, I just want to make sure they don't believe that if they do hours of content that this stuff is going to work on its own.
Yes, correct.
You perfected the key elements. And then it sounds like instead of just uploading it from one to all, you went particularly as the user and uploaded it, and then didn't overthink it. You just focused on the main parts.
Yes. So what we did, yeah, exactly, JB. So what we did not do was record 100 pieces of short form content, batch record, upload them to, because that's what we did for years. I was like, how can I get as much stuff out as humanly possible? Da, 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 da. And then I started thinking of like, what does like one really good piece of content look like? And so what we did, and so this is not the, again, it still sounds ridiculous, but like this is the 10th or 14th piece of content that we tried. So what we did is we recorded one, and then I looked at it and I was like, okay, I think we can do this better. Then we recorded another, watched it. I was like, okay, I think we're getting there. Then we recorded another, then we recorded another. Now here's the funny thing is like, this is not the best one by far. Like between you and me, this is not the most valuable. It's a bit clickbaity. It's not that, I don't love it. But I'm not the boss. I don't get to decide. The customer gets to decide. The viewer gets to decide. So we record it, we edit it. It's about as good as I think it can be. 80% is better than perfect. I hit publish. By the way, I published this thing. I didn't look at it for 2 days. I recorded 2 more, and then I recorded 2 more. And then just this morning, I happened to look in because I saw a spike. Our email list grew by like 2,000 people overnight. And in marketing, I don't know, if we're paying $5 a lead, that's like 10 grand worth of free leads that just flooded into the account. Our affiliate sales went up. Everything went up by thousands and thousands of dollars out of nowhere. And I was like, this is odd. So again, because I track everything, I went in and I looked at it and I was like, oh, it came from TikTok. That doesn't make sense. So I went to TikTok and we looked at it and I saw this one post, which is still climbing. I bet if we go there now, it'll be 220, 225. Like it's still progressing up, which is phenomenal. So again, yes, this wasn't the first post. Shockingly, actually, back years ago, I started with TikTok. We did a really good job. We got some fast traction, and then I was like, nah, moving on. And then I left and did some other stuff, and then just uploaded a bunch of garbage. So I think the point here is twofold. The first of which is like commitment versus interested. that is the defining thing. And when you're committed, you just take the steps. And then the second thing is we did the best that we could without overthinking. Because the best, and for the record, I almost didn't post this one because I just didn't love it. There was a couple weird things in there that I didn't love and a couple cuts that I wasn't fond of. And I just about sent it back to the editor, but I was like, you know what? I don't have anything for today yet. We're going to post it. And sure enough, that's the one that goes and kicks off the account. So
Yeah. And I appreciate, no, we're dancing, we're spending some time on this because this is how you get your offer out these days, right? Like
yeah,
just copying and pasting or just creating blogs is one form, but people resonate with video, people resonate with social media presence, people resonate with personality. So I know you're going to get into what it takes to have a solid MVP,
mhm,
a solid offer, a solid kind of packaging. But more than anything, if because there's some questions now around creating content. Do you just before we jump into the next topic,
mhm.
where does your commitment come from when it comes to creating this content from scratch? I mean, there's so many
Yeah,
different options. Why do you commit to it? What does it
yeah.
do for you at the end of the day?
Oh man. So there's two parts to that. Don't let me forget. Because I want to talk about what it does for me. But first I want to talk about where I think the commitment came from. But don't let me forget because what it does for me is unbelievable. Like it's ridiculous. So I don't want to gloss over that. Where it started was early on. So again, like we'll say 8 years ago, I was looking at all these different options for like how am I going to get clients for my agency. And I was doing everything that I could, including like business networking events and local things. And this was before I was a morning person, and I was waking up stupid early and driving like an hour out of town to these groups. And they're just like, I remember just not hating my life, but being like, this is just not the best way to do this, man. And my wife and I were joking because we had to drive back out to that small town before. And she's like, you remember when you used to like hate waking up at early and you had to drive here? And I was like, why did I do that? I was like, I remember why I did it. I wanted more. I was like, I was committed. Again, I was going to do anything. So anyways, I started making YouTube videos out of sort of belief. I was like, it makes sense, right? Like logically, I knew this was going to be a good platform. So I borrowed my dad's photo camera, which shot video. I shot it in his basement with like a thing screen behind me that we couldn't see. We had a light from Amazon for like $20. I recorded it only out of the right side audio because I couldn't figure out mono versus stereo, so it's still there. I sweat through my shirt because I was so uncomfortable. I had to change shirts on it. I'm standing there like this because I don't know what to do, and everyone thought I was nuts. Like my family thought I was crazy. Everyone thought it was. They didn't say this at first, but after I started making enough videos, and they were getting like 3 views, and it was because my mom like refreshed twice to watch it. They were like, maybe you should be doing other things to like grow the business because this isn't working. And I was like, I know, but I think it will. Like it makes logical sense that this is going to work. And again, I started to move to committed. I was like, okay, well, hang on. This again, this is sort of back when YouTube SEO worked a little better than it does now. Like now, suggested and home, we can talk about that later. So I was like, I tried to master that. What are the keywords? What are the search volumes? What does the video need to be about? What's the pacing? How do I make it look like this? And every video just got a little bit better, just a little bit better. And then we just fast forward 1,000 videos. And if you improve like 1% over 8 years and 1,000 videos, eventually you sort of kind of crack the code. And I think like where that's led me today is insanity. Like there's basically I can't imagine what my life would be like without it. And I'm not going to pretend that it wasn't uncomfortable at a lot of the stages of the way. But now, I mean, like revenue wise, millions and millions of dollars, brand deals that come through that are hundreds of thousands of dollars for sponsorships, clients like Google and Meta and Amazon and Snapchat and Adobe and Logitech. It's all through the content that they found me. Worked with celebrity clients that I still have that we may discuss later, but like people that just reach out and want to work with the person who's putting themselves out there presenting valuable information. So yeah, it's been I have no intention of ever stopping. Now I treat it a little different. So now I look at it as the filter of what do I want my kids to know? And like what do I want to teach them? Because now I can make these videos and I know I'm going to have sort of this like lasting legacy if I get hit by a bus or something tragic or whatever. They'll be like, at least we know we got some marketing advice from dad. So yeah, the what is it? The rewards are so worth the sacrifices, even though they don't feel like it at the time. And I think we think too short term. So we think in terms of like 2 weeks, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. But if you could fast forward and just imagine your dream life in like 2 or 3 years, dream life, nothing could be better. And then imagine like, that's why I'm doing this. And it's just such a small price to pay.
And the reason why I'm putting myself in a previous pain point where, and I hope this brings clarity of why I'm going this in depth with your past experience, the what we spoke offline around interested versus commitment, the win around the video, because I remember when I first started in sales and just in general, I would spray and pray.
Mm-hmm.
I would spam people. I would do text blasts. I would
Yeah.
just play it a numbers game. And I would get results because my
Yeah.
offer was so small, but also people got to like me once they clicked it or they learned about it.
Yeah.
And if I would have known now what I've been privileged of learning over time from folks like you and others that jump on this workshops with
Mm-hmm.
us, is that if you put yourself out there in an organized, professional, easy to understand way, and you have a good offer, people will listen and they'll consume more and more until they're ready to buy.
Yeah.
And I know that's what we're about to get into. And, sometimes the comments here, people are looking forward to maybe this techie portion of it.
Yeah.
But the techie is great if you like techie. If you're not
Yeah.
techie, then you're not looking forward to it.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, for people that are tuning in now, I want you to leave today's workshop saying, man, JB got some nuggets out of this that I find now worth, because Adam shared his story and his results, that I'm going to do it now. Because
Yes.
Adam, what you just shared was, this makes me money. I enjoy
Yeah.
doing it. It's the new way outside of what I was doing before.
Yeah.
And I'm
100%.
hoping people start to create their story around what they learned with the minimal viable product
Yeah.
and the minimal viable offer, and start getting drips of campaign and content out there. So
Yeah.
if you're ready to commit to learning today and then creating content around what you learn to teach others, like I have the
Mhm.
privilege right now to do, getting to know you virtually. And Adam's about to unpack here with his expertise, doing this every day, then let us know below that you're committed to that. Because what I don't want you to do is do what I did originally when I didn't know what I didn't know, was read a lot of books
Yeah.
and just spray and pray. That's not going to
Yeah.
get you it. And I don't think spam and all these different regulations even let you do that anymore. It's like you go
Yeah.
into the
We're
black
living in a
hole right
different
away.
era. Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
in a different era, bro.
Yeah. No, it's funny, dude. I did all of those things too. And then you curse the system and you blame everyone else, and you're like, the world hates me and marketing doesn't work. And you've just got to take a step back and be like, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm just doing it wrong. And then I think the single greatest thing that we have the opportunity from now is to see other people that are succeeding, so that we have models and references to base it off. So it's like when we first started, there was no one that I knew that did this. There was no one that I knew that I could actually understand how much they were making. In fact, that's one of the biggest missed opportunities or regrets I have, is that I probably didn't join enough groups early on, so that my vision of what was actually possible was really, really small. So like I said, my goal was like 10K a month. And it's simply because I didn't know anybody making 100K a month or $1 million a month. These numbers weren't real to my life. No one in my family or my history made millions a year. This was not a thing. And then you start meeting these other people and you're like, wait a second, it's real? You can do this? Why did no one tell me this? And it's like, well, you weren't looking. You weren't looking. So we've been there all along, but yeah, you gotta put yourself out there.
And I'm speaking to my 80s babies. If you're an 80s baby and you're tuned in with me, I'm speaking to our generation, which is like, that's not possible, right? Like,
I know. Yeah.
or I'm not going to go on TikTok, or I'm not going to go
Yeah.
on YouTube, or like this conservative approach, like toss that away.
Yeah.
Because we're not selling ourselves here right now. We're selling our knowledge, the easy way of overcoming what we've been through. So if you're an
Yeah.
80s baby, throw it in the comments below, because I feel like that's what's held me back, man. And I know we got a lot to unpack here, and us sitting on this topic here is tons of foundation. I know, I know it resonates because I've seen it happen little by little for folks that are like now stepping out of their comfort zone. So
Yeah. Awesome.
let's rock and
Okay.
roll, man. Pull that
Meat and
guitar out in
potatoes.
a second. We're gonna get into this here.
We got stuff. Minimum viable product. Do less. Get more. That's the name of the game. Important note. Remember, this is a quick reminder from yesterday. What's the one thing that clients care about more than anything else? Results. Things that make your clients money. They don't care what you do. They don't care how you do it. They don't care how hard you work. They don't care any of that. They care what you can do for them. Marketing, if it's done anything for me, it's made me a more empathetic person because I understand how little, this sounds very cynical, but I realize how little people care about me and how much they care about themselves, which is fantastic because like once you understand that, that's it's empowering because again, back to the content. I don't want to stay on that one too much, but it's like, if you're worried about what people think about you, don't worry. They're not. Like they're thinking about themselves and they're thinking about how you're going to help them and how that's going to help them. So we're just messengers. I'm a vehicle for the content. I don't really care what people think about me because first of all, successful people don't judge anybody that's going out there. You'll never find a professional runner that judges someone putting on running shoes for the first time. You'll never find a professional content creator who judges someone for uploading their first video. That's not what happens. You get judged by people that are scared and cynical and small, and their opinions mean nothing. So what do you need for a minimum viable business? Here's what you don't need. A super fancy website. You do not need a $5,000 logo. You do not need Hollywood level videos. You do not even need social proof. And in fact, I'm going to unpack that in a little, in just a second here. What do you need? You need a simple landing page. You can use your name as a business name. Again, not a lawyer, not going to pretend to be one, but in most countries and states and provinces, you're able to simply start operating as a sole proprietor using your own name, which means you technically don't even need registration or a bank account. Obviously, go get them. I think it's like $70 and you're setting yourself up. You can use your phone. You can use your phone for like 90% of what we do. You can use it for calling, for videos, for voice, for managing campaigns. Also, you can use systems proof instead of social proof. And this, I think, is probably one of the biggest takeaways for anybody that's just starting and they don't know what to do. So this is social proof. We all know it. Testimonials. Hey, Adam's done all this stuff. He's really good. He's helped me do this, et cetera, et cetera. But what do you do if you don't have that yet? You use systems proof. You show them things like this that are undeniable proof, tangible results of things that work. So instead of saying, I'm going to go get you reviews, and they're going to be like, I'm sure you are, buddy. You're going to be like, here is how I'm going to get you reviews. We're going to add this simple trigger. This is going to happen. An SMS is automatically sent out to your previous customers. We have a follow-up that automatically goes in place. We can segment them based on responses. We can use AI to do the da-da-da-da-da-da. We show them something that makes it clear that we're actually going to do what we say we're going to do. And this is incredibly powerful. I use systems. I use social proof everywhere. I use systems proof probably in equal or greater amounts because I don't want to say social proof is useless. It's incredibly powerful, but like it's been done to death. Like we've all seen the billions of testimonials and there is a point where you're like, yeah, I get it. I've seen them all before. But the systems proof, especially when we're showing them things like this is relatively new. So they haven't seen these things necessarily before, and you can doctor them up. You can make them pretty. You can do whatever you need, or you can just screenshot them directly from high level. So minimum viable product. What do you need? You need a landing page. Again, if we're going to be selling the AI employee, which I'm a fan of, one of the things you're going to find inside of your snapshot that you're going to get is this full AI employee website. My advice is to just use this one. So we've designed it. We've written all the copy for it. Make a few tweaks if you want, but like literally just import this into your account. And now you have an AI employee website that's going to represent your agency that you can use. So let's just check that right off the box. You can use your own name. So now you've got your logo pretty much done. Pick a font that you like. Montserrat, Poppins, Open Sans, anything really doesn't matter. Next, reputation management. This is another service we talked about yesterday. I'm a huge fan of, incredibly valuable. Again, let's not reinvent the wheel. Let's just take the snapshot that is already there. You'll find this installed inside of your snapshot as well that you can put in your account. Now we can go out there and we can start getting reviews for businesses. We don't have to have the social proof because we have the systems proof. You have access to everything. So now we've taken care of everything. We've taken care of your website. We've taken care of the service that you're going to provide. We've taken care of your logo because we're just going to use our name. So really, That's it. Anybody that tells you you need all this other fancy stuff is probably just trying to sell you things because you've got everything you need to succeed. So let's put it together. How do we price? What do we charge? How do we do this to maximize sales and profitability? All right, we got to talk about offers. Your offer is not what you do. Facebook ads, SEO, web design, etc. I often ask people, so what do you do? And again, in the context of marketing, they'll tell me one of these things. Your offer is the outcome you deliver, the results. That is your offer. If you go to a business owner, you're only going to find a few of them that are like, yeah, we want Facebook ads, or we want SEO, or we want web design. That is a very product aware buyer, and they're limited, and they're also not going to be ideal for you long term because they're not going to fully understand the value of what you're providing. For example, if you do Facebook ads and that's your offer, congratulations, you and like 8 million other people. On the other hand, if the outcome is the offer, if your offer is the outcome you deliver and the problem you solve, well, now you've just eliminated the vast majority of the competition because now you're being specific and you're being results oriented and you're providing some kind of tangible value that they're going to be able to use. So focus on the problems you solve and the desired outcome that you deliver. And if you remember, what do customers want? They want results, and results typically come in the form of leads, customers, appointments, sales, things like that. The closer that you can get to money, the better. In other words, a sale/customer is more valuable than an appointment. An appointment is more valuable than a lead. A lead is more valuable than a click or an impression or a like or a comment or a share. So we want to try to find ways to get as close to that sort of the golf course analogy as we possibly can. In other words, the best way to sell AI is to not sell AI, but instead focus on the results that AI can generate. So AI is not your offer. It is a tool that we use and we leverage. And it's funny because I can imagine 5 years down the road, maybe less, 10 years, we're not going to refer to it as AI anymore. It's just going to become like, this is just part of our everyday life and marketing and whatever it is, much like social media. It's weird for someone to like, I need social media marketing. It's like, we just say marketing now. It's kind of synonymous with what. So AI is going to become synonymous with business, especially with online business, with anything like that. So again, we don't want to focus on these like hacks and trends and buzzwords and things like that. We want to focus on those long-standing results. All right, price points. What are we going to charge? We got a couple different options here. These are going to be, let me preface this by saying you're going to be able to pick the one that you want. There is no right answer. When it comes to pricing, and I said this yesterday as well, it was Dan Kennedy that said, like the way you make the most money is be able to say a high number with a straight face. That's pretty much how it goes. So what we're going to do here is we're going to pick a number. The value that you provide is going to be somewhat subjective. So what's a good deal? What's not? Most of your customers aren't going to understand. A lot of it is going to come down to your experience and your confidence level for what you're able to charge. So me 10 years ago would not be able to charge the same rates that I can today, even if we were offering the same thing, because there is that sort of experience level in there. But if you're just getting started, you can still charge more than you think. Most of the problems that I see are from people undercharging. Anyway, on the note of undercharging, how about free? Is there anything less? So free or a $1 per day trial. I love these if you're just getting started and you're nervous with what to do. You do not need to go out there and be like, I'm $5,000 a month. You can be like, I'm going to give you a 14-day free trial, or it's $1 a day. The reason that we do this is trust. And to demonstrate how your offer solves a specific painful problem. We're going to talk about painkillers in just a second. That's the goal. Option 2, $297 a month. This is pretty much the common one that you're going to see. And I like it as well. The math works for it. The algebra, the money math, we'll talk about that in a bit as well. But it's one of those like almost impulse buy prices for business owners, where like $297 a month is the price of like their phone bill or something like these are, they're inconsequential, negligibly small numbers, but it's still going to be able to allow you to get some kind of result that justifies the investment for them to stay around for a long period of time. You can do technically $97 a month. I just don't love it. And the reason is it's just hard to add up enough customers for you to have it worth your time to even go talk to them. So there's got to be a point where, like, if someone's not even willing to spend $297 a month, then they're probably not a good fit for what you're doing. So we should just move on. All right, so $297, we're looking for like one thing that works really well. So think of AI employee, think of possibly reputation management. This is not bundling everything together. This price point is just too small and not worth it. $497 to $997, this is where we can start to put a couple things together. So now we can maybe put AI employee with reputation management, maybe with some kind of automated customer reactivation campaign, maybe with some kind of link building or Google profile optimization or something like that. But at this point, we're giving them kind of a more complete package that's going to help with what they want. So a few things. And then lastly, we've got $1,500, $2,500. So this is where the version of what I call a hybrid agency comes into play. And the reason that I like having a hybrid agency is because it gives me the opportunity to sell to people with a lot of money and not a lot of time, as well as people with a little less money, maybe a little more time, and kind of everywhere in between. And I can then tweak and cater and adjust my offers for them. So there's always going to be like 20% of the market that's going to want the most expensive thing that you have. And there's going to be 20% of the market that wants like the cheapest bare bones thing that you can. And then you have this like bulk of 60% of people in the middle. It's from Apple's pricing strategies and things like that. This is the reason they have like premium options. Some people just always buy premium. We want to make sure that we can capitalize on that if they want more and we have something to sell them that we can help provide a little more white glove service. Maybe we do a little bit more. Again, this is optional. You do not need to do this when you're first starting. If you're nervous about it, that's fine. You simply say, I'm sorry, we don't offer that. We offer this. Here's why it's better for you. You're actually saving money, getting better results, etc., etc. So again, here's our model. We pick a niche. We went over a ton of them yesterday. I highlighted a few of my favorites. We offer simple automated systems, reputation management, AI employee, whatever we want to do there. Then we charge $297, $497, $997 per client, and we have the option to charge more here. All right, let's talk about algebra. When you're first starting and you're concerned about what to do, this is something that I see a lot where new students will come and say, I don't feel comfortable charging 500 or 1,000, or what if it doesn't work? Or what about this? Or how does this work? This is why we do our first 1 to 3 clients for free in exchange for testimonials and case studies. There was a period of time, I don't know if you remember this, JV, where it was like, maybe it was a couple of years ago, where there was this massive trend where everybody was just super anti working for free. They're like, know your worth, know your value, charge what you're worth. And it was just driving me nuts because I was like, you as a person are unbelievably valuable. You're the greatest. We're so grateful that you're here. You as a marketer, we don't have any value yet. You're just starting. I was like, what makes you think that it's fair to go out and charge $5,000? Not to mention, what if it doesn't work and you're not very comfortable? Well, the beauty of free is it's the ultimate win-win for you. Again, the reason you're doing this is for confidence because there's just nothing to lose. You're going to go to a client and you're going to admit fully. This is the other thing. A lot of people ask, well, should I hide the fact that I'm new? Should I not tell them? I was like, no, you should always be honest. You tell them, I'm brand new to this. I have an amazing piece of software that I've got access to. It does all of these things, and I would like to do it for you for totally free. And the reason that I'm doing this is I would love to get a testimonial. I'd like to document what we do and make sure that it works. I'm going to over deliver. I'm going to make sure that you're just super happy with it. And if it works great, fantastic. We can talk about possibly working together paid down the road. But for now, for this first 30, 60, 90 days, 14 days, whatever it is, I just want to do it for free. And you're going to find people that are going to say, that sounds amazing. Yes, please. And you're going to get them and you're going to get testimonials. This is exactly what I did with my first agency. And it's funny because during that period of time where everybody was like, no, charge your worth and that, I saw two things happen. I saw the people that listened and went for the free work. I saw them blow up. And I saw all the people that were like, charge your worth and know your value. I saw them lose and quit. Because nobody wanted to pay them for something that they weren't good at and they weren't willing to take those actions. And again, they were hamstrung by the fact that they're like, they would say that, but they knew deep down in their core, they weren't worth $5,000 a month. So they couldn't make the offer and they couldn't go out there and put themselves out because nobody wants to be called on that. But it's like, it's very easy to go to any number of business owners that you want. This eliminates all fear, by the way, of like if you're scared of cold calling or door knocking or sending cold emails, all of that fear goes away because you're giving them a gift. It's like, hey, I've got $100. Would you like it? Like, people love you. Come on in. Have a seat. What do you mean? Why are you doing this? This doesn't make sense. You'd be like, here's the story. Here's what I'm doing. So it's super, super easy sell. Then what do? You take on your next two at 97, right? So you've got your testimonials. Then you go to your next two and you're like, look, Mr. and Mrs. Business Owner, normally this is like $500 a month, but I'm still in the process of gaining and I'd love to do it for you for basically below my cost. I'm not even gonna get paid. This is just gonna cover costs of software. It's $97 a month. It's $1 a day. It's whatever it is. More testimonials, more case studies, more confidence on your part. This is what we're trying to do, is we're trying to build confidence. Expression I love, confidence comes from evidence. You don't get to be confident just by telling yourself that you're really good. You get to be confident by starting to take these action steps and then realizing that it works for you. And again, the beauty of these systems is that you don't need to be a marketing expert for them to work. They're very automated. They're very plug and play. We just need to line them up. Then 1 to 2 more at 297. I think you see where this is going, right? From there, we can now offer a couple different packages. Now we have an option to go to business owners because look at this. We've got 3 free clients. Then we have 2 more at 97. We have 2 more at 297. By the way, you can adjust these numbers as much as you like, depending on demand. But now we have options. We can charge a business 297, 497, 997. We could put in one at 2,500. We could put it at 5,000. We could put it at 10,000. I mean, there's something called price anchoring, which is a psychological bias, which is the first number that someone hears. They then use that to reference all other numbers with. So bit of a sales tip here, but like if you're going to present these packages to business owners, you always start by presenting the highest one first. So he's like, Mr. and Mrs. Business Owner, we have 3 options. The first one is our most expensive. I'm not sure it's right for you. In fact, I don't even think it's a good fit, but I feel it's kind of my duty to walk you through anyway. It's $997 a month. It does all of these things. But like I said, I don't think that's right for you. We have another option that's $497 that I think would fit you perfectly. It does this, this, this. How does that sound? And now what we've done is we've just price anchored it against $997, which makes the $497 seem like a half price deal. It's amazingly powerful. Fun fact about price anchoring, it works even when you're told that you're about to be price anchored. So you could be like, hey, I'm going to give you a number right now, and I'm just using it to price anchor, and our brains are unbelievably silly. So what's our goal here? My recommendation, if you want to turn this into a full-time thing, is to go for our 10 clients at around $997 a month, which works out to $10K a month. This, I strongly believe, is like a minimum goal that we should be setting. I appreciate, sometimes I get a bit of kickback from it, being like, that's crazy or unreasonable, or what if I just want it on the side? But based on what we've seen and how much opportunity and how many businesses are out there, I feel this is incredibly modest. And if you move over to that committed side, you'll start to hang around other people. You'll get involved in the high-level community and you'll see all of us in there. And you'll find out that this is kind of like a baseline minimum goal that everybody has in there. So for sure, if you're starting it as a side hustle or as a passive income thing, we can start with a few and maybe make a few extra grand a month. Every dollar helps, right? It's gonna go a long way. But if you want to turn this into a full-time thing, I like this goal. On that note, let's do some math. I'm gonna give you the big numbers first because I'm gonna price anchor you for what's possible, and then we'll break it down to something that's more starter friendly. So $1 million a year, 83 grand a month. How do we do this? Well, we could have one client at 83 grand a month, which for the record, if you told me this 10 years ago that someone would pay you 83 grand a month, I would have laughed and been like, you're an insane person. But now we've signed clients at double that per month. So there are clients out there with very large budgets that need a lot of help, and they're happy to write checks for solutions. Next, 10 clients at 8 grand, 333 a month. This was kind of our minimum retainer for a while. We would work with just a couple clients. We would have it all work out. And it was, I don't want to say easy money, but like simple, certainly, managing less clients. 100 clients at 833 a month. Again, we can adjust up and down. 1,000 clients at $83 a month. This is where you're typically selling like straight up software. This one's kind of hard to do. I don't like number 4. That's too many people. 10,000 clients at $8.30. This is the reason that I don't want to say I'm like anti low ticket or anti like digital products or selling ebooks for $8. But if you're trying to make $1 million selling an $8 thing, like you need a lot of people. And it is not 10,000 times harder to get one client at 83 grand a month than it is to get like 10,000 clients. The amount of work is arguably the same. All right, 100,000 a year, 8,300 a month. So you get one client, there's 100K a year, 10 clients at 833 a month. This, I believe, is kind of like a sweet spot for where we're at. 10 clients. Let's just think about that for a second. 33 million small businesses in the US alone, 5 million small businesses started every day. US alone, not Canada, not Australia, not the UK, not Singapore, not developing nations, not everywhere else, not the billions and billions of people on this planet, just us. So there's a lot of business. 100 clients at 83 a month, 1,000 clients at $8.33. So there's a lot of ways to get this done. All right, JB, any thoughts or ideas or questions or comments from the chat before we move into irresistible offer stuff?
It was down to money. What's the money math? What's, and this is pretty much back of the napkin math here, but really it's that simple if you know the number that you need to hit per month. So this is exactly what I was going to ask, man.
Cool.
This is great.
Yeah, that's perfect. I mean, for me, what it always did is it helped to make it very real. So that like when I showed up to work in the morning, I'd be like, if I want 10K a month, I need 10 clients and then, or 11 clients or whatever it was. And then I could break it down. And maybe one client, we're back and forth and they're like, I've only got 500 a month. I'll be like, that's fine. 500, we're going to do this. Okay, now I need one more client like that or one more client like that. And it just makes it very real for what you need to do and what you need to go out. And again, if this becomes your standard of like, I always have at least 10 clients or 20 clients or 100 clients at this price point, like the outcome becomes inevitable. That's our goal here, is to like sort of give you the action steps and the standards to set so that like when you do these things, the outcome takes care of itself. Again, fitness and health are kind of a really easy thing to use as an example. Like it's hard to imagine a situation where someone eats less and moves more and doesn't lose weight. Like it's unreasonable. So the way that I've tried to approach and always thought about business is I want to do the actions that make it unreasonable for me not to succeed. Like if I do these things, logically, I can't fail. And that's kind of what I'm after here. Cool. All right. Irresistible offer. So good. They feel stupid saying no. Lot of talk about offers. Hormozi's got a great book, $100 million offers. Robert Bly has a book if you want to get really technical in offers. A buddy of mine named Joel Irway has something called a power offer he came out with like 5 years ago. There's many different ways to sort of like skin this proverbial cat. But the point of it pretty much always comes down the same way, which is like, what are we trying to do? What's in it for them? So your offer must demonstrate, very important, relevancy. How your product, in this case, the software, the AI services, the thing that we're doing, solves their specific problem. That is the most important thing. If we make an offer that has a solution to a problem that nobody has, it just will not sell. We see this all the time. So someone, again, often when I'm working with a business to improve their offers, what'll happen is we don't need to change anything about their business or about their service or about their product. Nothing like that. It's phenomenal. The only problem they have is they are not positioning it the right way. So they're selling a solution to a problem that nobody has. For example, let's use sprinklers, lawn sprinklers. Hey, do you need lawn sprinklers? Not really, right? Because like, what's my problem? It's like, on the other hand, hey, you know how your kids play in the backyard in the summer and it's really dry and there's dust coming up and it tracks in the house and they fall and they hurt themselves because there's no grass and it's really dusty and they're getting prickles and then the weeds start coming up? That's the problem, is lack of irrigation. Lawn sprinklers fix this. On the other hand, you could say, hey, you know how you're tired of dragging lawn sprinklers all around the yard and like dragging the hose and you trip on it and then run over it with a lawnmower? We build them underground. So now they're always there. You push a button, they pop up. So again, we've got to make sure that it's specific to the problem that they have and relevant. This is the reason that we have target markets and we have niches that we want to go after, because we need to make sure that the offer that we're promoting is something that they actually care about. It's the same reason that we, I don't know, it'd be like trying to sell like steak to vegans. Crazy idea. I see this all the bloody time. All the time. People are trying to sell things to people that don't want it and don't need it. Oh, makes me itchy thinking about it. Okay, next, quantified value. Deliver specific, measurable benefits. This is going to come with time. So I'm going to give you some examples. about like what we're going to try to do. If you don't feel comfortable saying them because you haven't proven it yet, again, this is the purpose of getting those 1 to 3 free clients. So we can find out how many leads can we generate, how many appointments, how many customers, how many sales. But the more specific we can be in regards to what they want, the better. So for example, let's say lose weight. Lose weight, that's a relevant offer. Lose 3 pounds in 7 days, that's a specific, measurable benefit. I'm able to visualize that. I can see it. I can feel it. I'm like, I know what I want. Now, even better, if the goal was lose 10 pounds by summer or this by that, or something that like, this is the conversation that they have in their mind of like, I wish I could lose 10 pounds by summer. Again, what was that? There was a bunch of different weight loss shows. And it was like expression, give me the last 10 pounds or whatever it was. It's like, that was very smart marketing because they were speaking the language that someone already had in the back of their mind. Reduce risk. We use proof, social proof or systems proof. We add guarantees if we can, or some other kind of risk reversal tactic. Again, we can mitigate or forego a lot of these with brand and with credibility and with things that come later. But in early days, direct response marketing, we need something that puts the risk on us. We'll work for free until we do this thing, we guarantee it or your money back. Again, these shouldn't scare you because the guarantee is just going to be what works most of the time. So if you have an automated customer reactivation campaign inside High Level, I push a button, it sends it out. My guarantee could be, I'm getting ahead of myself and I got excited. My guarantee could be, we're going to get you this many appointments in X days, no spend. And the reason that I know that is because I've run this campaign enough times and I've seen it. We can also put in caveats of like, you need a list of at least this many people, whatever it is. But again, we don't have to put that all in our marketing right away. Differentiation. Stand out with unique systems or authority. I'm going to give you the easiest way to differentiate yourself from everybody around you. And it's going to sound silly, and I apologize in advance, but it is so deadly effective and so bone dead simple. And we've been doing it forever and it still works. So we'll get to that. All right. Vitamins versus painkillers. Do not sell vitamins. Vitamins are nice to have. They're future oriented. This is the reason I think insurance is a wonderful case study from marketing. Because with insurance, we're selling something for like the inevitable future that may happen, right? Life insurance is probably the quintessential example. The way we fix this, I'll talk about in painkillers, but we have to advance it. But like, don't sell something for something that might happen. This is a hard sell because like, I forget, there was this line from, I think it was from The Simpsons or whatever. And it was like, Homer's eating some bad food or doing something dumb. And he's like, yeah, but you're going to be sick of it. He's like, that's future Homer's problem. I wouldn't want to be that guy. And I always think about this from vitamins because this is just how we think. It was like, we're not very good at imagining ourselves 1 year down the road, 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, which is the reason that I really want to encourage you to take action today is because like that version of you, it's coming. Like it's going to be there. So again, vitamins, prevents a future problem, hard to sell, intangible long-term benefits, also typically requires effort, right? Vitamins, you got to take them every day. You got to make sure you maintain your regime. You got to do all your stuff like that. Alternatives, painkillers. Do sell these. These are need to have. In marketing, we call them bleeding necks. So if you've got a bleeding neck, what do? You deal with it right away. Get some pressure on the wound. You go to the hospital. You call 911. This is not something that you're going to be waiting around for. We need those kind of pains. These are present oriented. So for the insurance example, one way to sell life insurance is that we bring the future today. So instead of being like, hey, when you die, make sure your family is looked after, which a lot of people are like, yeah, of course I want to do that. But they're like, but I'm also dead. So I don't know, they'll be fine or whatever it is. What we do is we say, hey, do you want to feel comfortable today and be respected by your family and feel like you're looking after them and do all that? Well, the best way to do it is to give yourself the peace of mind by buying some kind of life insurance. And then you're going to feel like a good, responsible person every day. I was like, now it's now. Now I get to feel that benefit. Solves an immediate actual problem, easy to sell because we're solving a problem. We're not just future pacing it, and requires no effort. You got a headache, you pop a pill. You don't have to exercise. You don't have to drink water. You don't have to go outside in nature. None of that. You just take a pill. You're good. So this is typically what we're selling. Now, magic pills. Miseries and miracles. These are important to understand about your target market, about your audience. Miseries are their pains, their problems, their fears, their frustrations, all of their nightmares. These are the things that wake them up at 2 o'clock in the morning in a cold sweat. Maybe it's not having enough customers. Maybe it's not making payroll. Maybe it's having to close their business. Maybe it's looking like a failure to their friends, to their family, looking like a failure to themselves, not fulfilling their potential. There's some universal ones that are applicable across all people. Basically those ones. And there's also some that are going to be niche specific, depending on what you're going after. Their miracles, on the other hand, are all of their wants, their goals, their dreams, their desires, their aspirations, everything that they're trying to get towards. We need to know these as well. You don't need to know them right away, but this is where a little bit of customer research comes in handy. If you remember from yesterday, we talked about like action items. I'd be like, just go Google a couple: nail salon marketing agency, automotive repair marketing agency. Look at the language that they use. Like, make sure your nail salon is fully booked. Make sure that you never miss a call again. Make sure these are, especially if they've done a good job, these are their miseries that they're trying to get away from and the miracles that they're trying to get to. And our offer bridges that gap. We move them away from miseries towards their miracles. And I'll give you a formula for that in a minute. Next, USDO, ultra-specific desired outcome. This is going to come later with experience. I'll give you some good examples here, but we're trying to constantly refine and hone this in. And JB, you want to talk about the importance of taking action. This is probably the big one. We're going to pick something and then it's going to change. I promise you. I refine my USDO all the time, because like as we get more information with our business and with our offers and we're introduced to new target markets and we start to learn the language that they use and the words that they use, we refine it and we adjust it. So pick something, we can adjust it after.
For those that aren't familiar with what USDO is, could you just share briefly what that stands for and how that applies?
Definitely. So the miracle, their wants, their goals, their dreams, their desires, a USDO was like a subset of a miracle. So it's like, actually, I've got some examples of it in a bit as well, but like my goal would be like, JB, what's your dream business outcome? And you might be like, I'd love to have 30 new appointments a month of highly qualified buyers. That is my dream. So now my offer becomes, I'm going to help you get 30 qualified appointments or 30 new appointments every single month with highly qualified buyers. That's an ultra specific desired outcome rather than I'm going to do marketing for you. Huh? Marketing? You want some of that? It's good. It's good stuff. It's like, get out of here. Rather, ultra specific. So again, it's going to come with a bit of time. I'll give you some examples here so we can adapt and adjust them. But like the more specific we can be, the better. Good example. I've got a buddy of mine. We meet once in a while, a copywriter friend, and we'll go over each other's sales pages, make sure everything's good. And I kid you not, every sales page I send him, every time, I know what he's going to say now every time in advance, but like every time I send him something, his thing is like, can you make it more specific? Like every time I was like, well, we'll do this. He's like, can you make it more specific? Like, what's the story? What are they saying? What are they thinking? And I was like, oh, you're right. It's like, it's always too generic. It's got to be more specific. Now, of course, this is going to come from experience and talking with people, but yes, specificity sells. So how do you figure it out? Well, if your niche could wave a magic wand and immediately have their biggest desire come true, what would that be? This is what we got to figure out. So if they're an auto dealer, how many new cars do they want to sell? If they're a personal trainer, how many new clients do they want? What kind of clients? How long do they want to work with them for? Do they want them online or in person? If they're a dentist, how many new patients can they handle? And would they actually want? And most times what you're going to find is these numbers are probably ridiculously conservative. Most people outside of the online marketing community, they don't think in triple digit percentage growth. They don't think, well, I'd like to increase revenue by 1,000% next month. They're like, I'd love to grow by like 7% this year. I was like, so if they have 300 patients, they now want like 320 or something. It's like, I'd like an extra 5 patients a month or something. So then what we can say is we'll help you get an extra 5 to 10 patients a month. And we try to use their language. All right, let's talk about magic words. I talked about the best way to differentiate yourself and your offer. It's typically with some kind of magic word solution. So it's like I don't know, what's a business with, what do we got? P. So it's like the ultimate plumbing producer, or what's another one? The interior or designer doesn't work. Anything like this. Let's find another one. We've got blueprint, roofer. There we go. The roofer report, the strategist session or snapshot or system. What we're trying to do is we're trying to ideally include some kind of niche word in there, and then one of these fancy buzzwords. And this now becomes your proprietary system. Your proprietary system is going to be a combination of tools that we use inside of high level. Again, this is where systems proof comes in. And literally, and again, this is the part that I warned you about is going to sound silly, but like simply by giving it a name, it adds credibility. And the reason is because it shows that you've actually put something together to really provide a result. So rather than saying, yeah, I do this thing, we do marketing, we help you with this, it's like, no, we have actually a proven system. And the proven system is really just a collection of subsystems that you already have access to. So this one thing alone can really help to differentiate. All right, magic pill. Examples. 7-figure agency blueprint for marketing agencies. I wouldn't use this one exactly just because I've used this one extensively, but feel free to model it after, pick another one from one of the previous words. Landscape lead gen landslide. That one might be a little bit of a mouthful. I might just go landscape, landslide, or yeah, probably just that. Perpetual patient process. I also like alliteration, as you can tell. It works well in a lot of ways for memory. Big wave bookings for surf tourism. Again, all of these things are just names. That's it. But what it does is it shows your clients that you actually have a system, that you've thought these things through. Even if your system is just literally taking that review snapshot and automation and workflow inside high level, and then we put a name on it because now we have it customized for their niche. Okay, so here's some more. If you're looking for some action stuff, how do we get this done? Let me get these all out here. There we go. All you've got to do is fill in these answers, and then you can write out an offer statement. So your niche, ultra-specific desired outcome, your magic pill, so whatever you're going to call it, the big wave bookings, things they want, things they hate. So we help, I think I have some examples here, but essentially we help plumbing business owners get 5 to 10 new leads a day with our plumbing profit formula so they can get more contracts without having to follow up with everyone, without having to chase down leads or show up at jobs where nobody takes them seriously or pay on time or whatever it is. And that's it. And then we can refine it and we're going to adjust it over time. But simply having this is going to put you, I can't even begin to tell you, so far ahead of the competition because now you're clear. And where do you put this statement? Everywhere. You put it above the fold on your website. You put it in your social media headers. You put it in your email signatures. You put it everywhere because now what ends up happening is when someone comes across you or your content or anything, they know immediately what you do, who you do it for, and how you help them. One of the worst culprits, I think, of all time in marketing is website statements like above the fold. So if you ever go to a website and you look at the picture and the words that are above the fold, 99 times out of 100, I don't know what they do, who they do it for, or why I should care, which is just like the kiss of death. Immediately, we need to confirm they're in the right place. I do this for you. If I don't do it for you, fantastic. You can move on and no hard feelings in that. But we've got to make sure that's clear. All right, examples. There we go. Jiu-Jitsu gym owners double membership within 6 months using our Mat Mastery method so they can build a thriving martial arts community without spending every waking hour on marketing and admin tasks. So again, we help the niche with their ultra-specific desired outcome using our magic pill so they can get this thing that they want without this thing that they hate. Solar companies help increase installation contracts by 50%. That's ultra specific within the first quarter using Sunshine Surge, enabling them to light up more homes with clean energy without getting bogged down in the complexities of digital marketing. Dentists, Smile Spark, increase patient booking by 30% in 3 months. That's it. All right. Sneak peek. We're going to be talking about this one tomorrow, but I want to give you a bit of a sneak peek because what you're going to find is that when we're doing our outreach, when we're putting our offers in front of potential clients, all we're really doing is wrapping up our irresistible offer in different ways. This is really it. So we're going to take our offers, and this is the reason that we have to make sure that we go through that exercise, and then we're just going to find new and creative and innovative ways to put that in front of as many potential ideal prospects as possible. So for example, irresistible offer number 1. This is great for AI employee or voice AI. So hey, first name. Obviously first name is their first name. It's very easy to find business owners' first names, by the way. We're going to talk about this all tomorrow when I show you how to build a lead list. Would you be interested in a system that answers missed calls, books appointments, generates leads automatically for free? No setup fees or tech issues to deal with. Would it be okay to send you a quick video explaining how it works? I really like this call to action. Would it be okay to send you a quick video explaining how it works? What we're doing here is we're not asking to sell them anything. We're asking them to simply show them our process. This gives us an opportunity to send them a really quick Loom video. So a screen capture video. Loom is free to use. And now we can walk them through the systems proof. We can open up their website. We can customize it. This video should be 3 to 5 minutes maximum. Really quick, just outlining things. Next, reputation management. Interested in me setting up a system that gets you 5 to 10 new positive reviews a day for free? I set it up with automations, no setup fees or upfront costs, just an easy way to boost your reviews quickly. Check the call to action again. Want me to send over a quick video explaining how it works? Again, I love this call to action. It works almost better than pretty much any other call to action we use. So we continue to use it to this day. And last example, ACRC, automated customer reactivation campaigns. Go back. I'll get you unlimited appointments in 14 days with 0 ad spend, or it's free. Interested? This, I believe, is an offer that I saw from, I think it was Frank Kern. It's a variation of Joel Orway power offer with elements of Hormozy's formula, with elements of Bob Bly being direct versus brand response. What's interesting about marketing is that once you understand the formulas and the systems, you're going to see it a lot. And you're going to start to understand exactly what we're doing and why, so that you're going to be able to replicate it as well. All right. Objections. I've got a lot here. So what we're going to do is I want to burn through a couple of them really quick. And then I'm going to make sure that everybody, JB, I think as well, like they've got access to the slides and all of that. So we don't need to read them all verbatim. But one of the biggest things that people have is like, well, what do I say if they say this, or they come back with this, or they can't afford this? So we're going to cover a bunch now, and then I'm going to give you more for later. So missed calls, we don't miss calls. Well, what we want to do here is highlight how even a single missed call can result in lost revenue. We want to show them how businesses lose, say, $300 for every missed call. How much revenue could they possibly be missing? Also, 62% of small businesses or missed calls, of calls to small businesses are typically missed. We're already ranking decently. We don't need SEO. Well, we explain that, hey, decent is great, but we could probably do better. We'll try to use some kind of visual, like search examples. Being in the top 3 can actually increase traffic by 70%. So why would we want less than that? Again, the purpose of these objections really are for you to review and to study so that you have an answer for everything. That's all this really is. In fact, the best salespeople are not the schmooziest or the most extroverted. They're typically the ones that like know their product or service better. And they've already gone through the exercise of having more conversations. So they know what people are going to say in advance. All right, we're busy during peak seasons, so this isn't a priority. This is the big one that I wanted to cover before we burn through the rest of them. We're already busy, we're already booked, we're already doing everything. Again, what we're trying to do is fill the gaps for slower times so that we have more stability. And if you remember from yesterday, we talked about waitlist websites. This is a bit of a secret sales weapon that I use, and they work fantastic. So we explain how we design our marketing for like the facilitating of a waitlist so that they can get to be picky and choosy over who they work with. All right, we don't need any more reviews. Again, I'm going to burn through these quick. I don't think we need to read them, but I'm going to make sure that we've got all the slides that you can, so you can go and study these as you like. This one's important. Marketing agencies make things overly complicated. We've been burned before. Someone once told me, if anybody ever speaks bad of their previous business or marketing agency, you should run because they're just a bad client and they should never have. Then I started taking on clients and I realized that every single client I took on had a bad experience with a previous marketing agency. So I was like, okay, we're going to have to change the way that we think about this. So now what we're trying to do is we're trying to show them how we actually are different. And this is why we are going to need some of these offers and some of these tweaks and some of the ways that we do things. We're going to show them simple, measurable results. We're going to show them exactly what we're doing. We're going to have frequent contact. We're going to make things very, very easy for them, and we're going to prove it. Because yes, you are going to hear this objection for sure. And we are going to show them that we're different. All right. I think that's it. I'm going to burn through these and then we might hit our final points, but these are all going to be available in the slides. And that is it for today, I think, my friend.
Yeah. So we're going to put together tomorrow. So tomorrow's a big day where we're going to release the snapshot. That'll be in our resources folder. We're going to we can't give everyone, just to be clear, to set expectations, right? We can't give Adam's entire slide deck away, right? There's a lot of hard work and proprietary, there's just intellectual property associated with this. So what we will do is we're going to grab the objections part. We're going to copy that and put it into a PDF, and
Perfect.
that'll be added into the resources folder. And then at that point, Adam, with day one and day two, for those that need the replay, the link will be below to sign up to receive that. What's the next action step? Like if I want to start my business from home, I went through day one. I now know what I know about the offers and the framework. What do I do next?
Yes. So this one's going to be not a marketing thing, but like a productivity thing. And what we want to do is we want to make it unreasonable to fail. So if we think about starting our business and working from home, there's going to be a few action steps that we're going to want to take that are going to sound kind of superficial and maybe silly, but are going to be important. The first of which is to be realistic about the environment that we're working in right now. So do we have family commitments? Do we have young kids? Do we have a small place that we're working in? Because we're going to have to start finding little pockets of time where we're going to start to put some of this stuff in. And if I could give you the secret code, we got to get this on the calendar. So we have to make the commitment, and then we have to make it a priority. And the way to make it a priority is to dedicate that time. And that's your business growing time. I don't care if it's 30 minutes. Ideally, it would be like an hour or two, but even 30 minutes. We can do this before everyone wakes up. We can do this after everyone goes to bed. We can do this at 6 p.m. when everybody's getting ready for dinner or whatever. We're going to excuse ourselves for 30 minutes. We can do this locked. So what I used to do, because I lived in a tiny, tiny place with a kitchen counter thing, I would either work there if my wife was out, or I would work in my car, sitting in the driver's seat with a laptop on my lap, or I would work. I wasn't a big fan of coffee shops or libraries because I found them too distracting, but you find what works for you and you carve out that little bit of time. I've known people that have worked in a closet and they just literally cleared out some stuff and put a box to put the laptop on because it was a quiet, uninterrupted place and the kids knew not to go bug them in the closet. But we've got to figure out, where am I going to start to put this together? And again, I think being realistic is very important here. I think it's if you already have a job, a 9-to-5, and you're looking to start this as a side hustle, it's ridiculous to expect that you're going to be putting 8 hours a day in and 16 hours on weekends, especially with other commitments. But it's also unrealistic to not put any in, or to let other things become a priority. So my recommendation is we make this the priority, because by sort of front loading some of this effort and work in that, it's going to pay off. The compound interest on this is insane. And the sooner that you can get started and the more that you can front load the learning and the actual action taking, the longer it's going to pay off. So in economics, we call it opportunity cost. So just imagine for a second, you're making 10 grand a month from a side hustle. Well, every month that you don't do that, you're losing 10 grand in opportunity cost. And if you have the dreams of maybe making more, let's say 100 grand a month, well, every month that you put that off, you're losing $100,000. So we've got to make this realistic. That's every day that I'm not doing this, I'm losing hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. So we've got to find time to start dedicating towards that. I think once that's done and we've got some time on our calendar and we've got a space or an idea of where we can get things in, then it really just comes down to making a list of what do I need to do next? Write it out if you want, and then just focus on one thing at a time. You do not need to solve items 17 through 20 when you're on items 2 and 3. If you get stuck, do not get stuck. Go to the support, go to the community, book your kickoff call. I think the kickoff call is probably the most important thing. Book your kickoff call, show up to the bootcamp workshops. Again, we're here. We've got so much support. It's crazy. So do not allow yourself to get stuck. Google can be your best friend as well. Do not be afraid to Google things. How do I do this? How do I do that? What about this? How do I do this? You could even type in, how do I do this? High level, and it'll probably take you to one of the training things on there. But I think those are probably the most powerful and important to get done. And then tomorrow, we're getting brass tacks. We've got outreach, we've got inbound content. We can unpack content marketing a whole lot more, show you how to build a lead list, all the different places to get unlimited leads for free. Yeah, there's a lot of, I'm most excited for tomorrow.
For those that are asking how they can get started using high level to get this process in place. Do you have some strategies or some advice on what features within high level or action steps you could start with in high level?
Yeah, I mean, I think what I would do is look at those the ones that we talked about. So the AI employee I really like, but more than that, I like the reputation management side of things. So I would look at, again, either in the snapshot or I believe we can just even get a recipe. If you go to workflows and automations and we choose the Google review request and just look at that workflow and automation and start to understand how that works. Play around, click some buttons, start to see it. There's tutorials on it available on YouTube, and I'm sure in our community as well. Like we'll walk through it. Watch those a couple times and you'll know more than like 99% of people about it. Then if you really want to get advanced, you could look at, say, citations or Yext or how to get those, because those pair nicely together. But between those, it's hard to imagine, like if you're really serious and you're starting from scratch, that's probably where I would start you, is I'd be like, let's get this review requests going and maybe some citations. You can learn this. Oh man, I'm not even kidding. Like, I don't know, the tutorial's like 5 minutes long. Watch it 3 times, watch some other ones on it. Like you're going to have this mastered. Again, you don't need to be a marketing expert to do this, because you're not, I mean, technically it's marketing, but the software is doing the work for you to go get the review requests. So all you really need to understand is the fact that A, businesses need more reviews and they need to be good ones. And B, we have a software solution that will help them go out and get those reviews automated without work. Like that's what you need to know. I can't think of a single other question that would be marketing related that would come up regards to that.
Yeah. So, and again, this comes down to, so what I'm understanding is you got to talk to people to get them interested, to get them even in your high level.
Right.
Sometimes people will get overwhelmed with learning high level, or they'll carve out extra time to figure out high level a little bit more extensively than normal because they want to feel like the expert in it at the moment.
Yes.
But would your advice be to go talk to people to get them to say yes?
Yeah. Okay, good. Oh, good question. Okay, so remember right at the beginning, I talked about RGAs versus NRGAs. So RGAs I define as revenue generating activities. And the list of RGAs that you're going to do to make money, it's very small. And it's in fact, I could probably sum it up in one word, which is conversations. If you have conversations with your ideal market or potential prospects, you will make money. NRGAs, non-revenue generating activities, that list is 18 miles long, on which build a better website, fix my logo, learn everything about high level. This is probably the biggest mistake that people are going to make, is they're going to look at the software. For the record, oh man, I've been using high level since 2019. I have a tech guy who knows high level inside and out. My knowledge of high level would probably fail on, like, compared to most people, I think. And yet I've made millions with it because I focus on RGA, which is conversations with potential clients. I know that there's support. I know how to do the basics. I can install my snapshots. I can work my workflows. I can link up a few things. And that is all that I need to do. I know enough to be dangerous. That's it. I do not need to know every single micro, cool, amazing thing that it does, because lots of people do. But again, that's not where the money is. The money is in those conversations. So again, if you remember, I think our homework from last night or whatever was to make a list of niches and to start figuring out, I like them, I might like them, that might be good, that might be good. Homework for today, or if again, are we committed or are we interested? If you're committed and you're like, I need 10K a month and I need it now, man, like now, it's just conversations. Like when we look at our students and our clients and the ones that have built the biggest businesses and biggest agencies the fastest, the differentiator is number of conversations that they've had. That's it. They're not smarter. They're not prettier. They're not doing other things. They don't have hacks. They don't have tricks. They're having more conversations. How do they have them? Any way that they can. Again, committed versus interested. Some of them call, some of them send emails, some of them send direct messages. We're going to talk about all this tomorrow, by the way, but like, they find ways to get in front of these people and they have conversations. The offer that we talked about today, we're going to do this for free. Man, that's a no-brainer offer. You can go have as many conversations with as many people as you possibly want based on that. And then you can ask them, So what do you want? What do you not want? How's business? What would you wish you had more of? What's working? What's not? What would be a perfect solution? If I could wave a magic wand and solve your biggest problem, what would that look like? All of these are just pure gems. Yeah, I mean, I told this story, I think in our workshop we did like last year, where if somebody came to my house and it's a very morbid example. If someone came to my house and like kidnapped my whole family and they're like, you got to make $100,000 as fast as humanly possible this month. I need you to make $100,000 this month. Go. What do? All conversations. I literally call every single possible potential client and I talk to them. I email them all. I DM them. I show up at their place of business, probably with coffee or donuts. Also, and I talked about this before. Great tactic if you've got local businesses. Show up with some gifts. Anything that I can to have conversations. And the conversation is very much, this is what I'm doing. I'm brand new. Here's how I'm starting. I have this thing. I'd love to do it for you for free. What are your problems? How can I help you? They're going to be skeptical. Why are you doing this? I'd be like, because I'm new and I'd love a case study, a testimonial. I think this is fantastic. It's an amazing opportunity. And I want to prove to you that it's going to be good. And I'm just doing this. And again, if I think about like we scaled an agency from 0 to 100K in less than 30 days, that's what we did. That was it. Like we just had more conversations. And I remember my previous agencies that didn't scale that fast. I built myself a pretty website, a pretty logo. I made a bunch of content. I didn't have any conversations. I didn't talk to anybody. People cannot buy from you if they don't know you exist.
Thank you for going in depth on that. I think that's where we start, having conversations. So the commitment starts with making the phone call, the message, the outreach. I mean, high level is only the spaceship until you get people in it to go to the moon. So
that's it.
Man, day 3 tomorrow. What do we have lined up? What could people be prepared for? And for those that have got the trial and they're looking to get techie with this, they want to get this going. You mentioned the kickoff call, which basically gets everything up and running. How much of this getting your business started from home or the laptop lifestyle is techie? Well, if you had to put a percentage to it, is it 60% sales? Is it 80% sales?
Yeah.
Just to set the framework here, because some workshops are a little bit more techie than others.
Yeah.
Where would you best describe this one fitting in, and how do you get the best out of what you've shared?
Yeah. It's funny. The answer that I want to say, I'm trying to find a way if it's wrong, but I don't think it is. I think it's 90% sales. I can't say 100% because you got to do something. 95% is probably more realistic. It's funny, JB, I was trying to hedge. I was like 60-40. It's not. It's just not. It's 90% sales, maybe more. Like the technology part of it. And again, this is someone, I'm not techie by nature. And I'm more than capable of doing things. If you can log into social media and make a post, you can learn the software. Okay, I taught my 9-year-old son. He's interested now in like, we had a chat the other day. I was like, what daddy actually does and how this business stuff works. I taught him how to build a website and a funnel and whatever it was. I should have made a video. It was phenomenal. But like, I was like, you know what? Why don't I carve aside a good hour a day and I'll teach him this stuff. And in like a month or so, he'll be able to do this. 30 minutes. And he built like a website. And I started to question my value as a human being. I was like, what is happening? Kids these days. But like, I think that sums it up. Like my 9-year-old son went and set things up. Now, did he do DNS settings and propagation and emails? No, but we've got Lead Connector now where we push a button and we buy the domains through so it's like everything that we used to have to do is gone. And now it's automated. So there's 2 dangers. The first danger is letting the fear of that stop you, I think, because that's not the thing anymore at all. And the second thing is thinking that you need to know everything. And again, like talk about, I need to learn all of these things in case a client asks, not a chance. Pick the one thing and then sure, learn that inside and out. Let's say reputation management. I'm going to hang my hat on that one. Reputation management, learn the ins and outs of that. You can do that in like 4 hours. Like you're now an expert in reputation management. I promise you've watched every video on YouTube. I think I've got like 2 videos on it. Other people have videos. Like, you now know everything about reputation management. You have enough. Now you need to go out there and you need to start talking to people. And again, we're going to go over exactly how to do this tomorrow, but like, that's it. You know enough. You know enough. You can now go out, and the only difference now between making money and not is the amount of conversations you have. And the beauty is this is controllable. This is in your power. You don't need any other special skills. You don't need, I mean, again, we kind of have an irresistible offer here. So the only thing that we have to do is increase the frequency with which we're meeting and having conversations and bumping into potential prospects. The more people you have conversations with, the more money you will make and the faster you will do it. So again, if you're super committed, you do more and you do it faster and you'll get results more and faster. And if you're less committed, do it slower and you'll still get results. It'll just be slower. It's going to be in direct proportion to the amount of conversations that you have. Your revenue will be measured in direct proportion to the amount of conversations you have, full stop.
And that's going to conclude for today. We're going to jump at this tomorrow, day 3, final day, where the snapshot gets released. The slides for today that go over the objections will get released. The homework is to create your irresistible offer pitch. Get that in the comments. Tomorrow, 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Central. Got your questions down below. If you're watching the replay, share. Thank you so much, Adam, for unpacking this, and to our audience, we appreciate you as well. See you tomorrow.
Thank you, everybody. We'll see ya.